No problem. I've still got plan C. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yo! What is going on? Plan C coming at you on a Thursday. What's going on? Happy Thursday, everyone. Coming at you with an NBA check-in. I know I said what I would do in a little earlier, but, life happens, work happens, we move on. Anyway, hope everyone's doing okay. Happy birthday to me, or happy belated birthday to me. By the time this comes out, my birthday will have been a week ago. Shout out to everyone who wished me a happy birthday. It was actually a really nice birthday. So, that was great. On this podcast, going to talk about the Luka trade. It needs to be talked about. Also going to sprinkle in some Jimmy Butler. And then talk about the top of the standings a little bit. Also, a little bit on the All-Star game as well. If you haven't already, make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Anchor, Breaker, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Apple, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you check out all of our previous podcasts and streams. We've got Super Bowl stuff on there. We've got lots of football stuff on there. Basketball stuff as well. And look forward to more basketball stuff. I think we're going to try and revive an old satire series that I did, but we'll see. Anyway, hope you're having a great Thursday. Hope everyone's doing well. Shout out to everyone in the art department. I'm finishing a job today, and it's been a 2.5 month gig, and feels great to come out on the other side. Anyway, I'm blabbing and blabbing. Let's get to the show. See ya there. And we're back. Hope everyone is doing well. I know I just said that in the intro, but, I mean it. So, as I mentioned, starting off, we have to talk about the Luka Doncic trade. So, before I say any opinions, Luka has been was traded to the Lakers. He is now playing, I believe, his third game, with them, or will play his third game tonight. Not tonight, but this is coming out on Thursday, so it'll have been last night. And so they trade Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris, for the Mavs to get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, 2029 first round pick. What the fuck? To give up a 25-year-old, 5-time first team All-Pro, 5 times, and he's 25. Before this year, which he's not eligible to make because of injuries, before this year, the only season he was not first team All-Pro was his rookie year. Do you know how ridiculous that is? And, the Mavs, since all the news has come out about the trade, we're almost 2 weeks away. We're over 2 weeks, sorry. It's really insane because the Mavs seem to... They traded him because they didn't like his vibe. They didn't like his conditioning. They had him take time off earlier this year for his wrist, but they really wanted him to get into shape. And, all these things that Nico Harrison and, the owner have been talking about, if he wasn't dragging you to the finals on one leg as recently as last year, I would maybe consider your argument. This is ridiculous, and I'm gonna do this from the Mavs side first before I rip into just the luck of the Lakers. But this is a team in the Mavs that they claimed they were doing this for defense, and they said it's a win now, but also win in the future move. Which, like, okay, sure, you're just wrong, but sure. And they trade for Anthony Davis, so who is not only injury prone, but literally in his first game with the team, after putting up great numbers, gets injured and is now out a month, with Dallas sort of hanging right around that play-in spot. You know who would be nice to have right now? Luka Doncic. What a concept, huh? It's really insane. And Max Christie has been playing well for them. Cool. That's great. He's not Luka Doncic. This is major incompetence by the Mavs, and all the quotes, again, that have come out, it's just, I think 99% of people who follow the league would disagree. And for them to just throw this in the Lakers' lap is fucking ridiculous. And what do I know? I'm just a fucking guy who listens to podcasts, watches League Pass, and reads reporters. But this really seems like Nico Harrison. So apparently the way it worked out was Nico Harrison and Lakers GM Rob Pelinka started conversation. Like, Harrison approached Pelinka about this. And it started as like what if, hee hee, ha ha. And then evolved into Luka Doncic being fucking traded. So the fact that it was the Mavs that did that, and they also, it's been reported that apparently Rob Pelinka like sort of negged Luka Doncic, and like that's insane. Once those trade negotiations start, right? And there's a history here because Nico Harrison was Kobe's guy at Nike, because Nico Harrison used to be an employee of Nike and had a high position there. And who's Kobe's agent but Rob Pelinka, now Lakers GM. So it's, these guys are buddies, and this trade, like, I don't want to say sus, because I think we're closer to malpractice than we are, close to malfeasance. But this is still really ridiculous. This is giving up somebody who, they weren't staying in shape, but this is somebody who fucking just carried you to the finals. And you're trading for quote unquote more defense, but you're also trading for somebody who has literally been called street clothes because of all the time. For those who are not aware, street clothes is a term in the NBA where a player is wearing, the clothes that they would wear on the street when they're sitting on the bench because they're injured. So most times when you hear street clothes, you'd be like, wait, what? But it's actually usually very nice outfits because they're NBA players who have lots of money. Anyway, neither here nor there. They literally called him street clothes because of all the time he missed due to injury. And Anthony Davis is a phenomenal player, probably going to the Hall of Fame. But it's ridiculous that you trade him, that the Mavericks are the ones who were like, yeah, let's fucking get Anthony Davis. This is our guy. Really quite ridiculous. From the Lakers side, I think this is one of those situations where you probably think you're tripping on acid the first time you hear, or you're like, oh my God, I have to fucking, am I like hallucinating this? This is insane. For a number of reasons. So LeBron James at 40 now has a legitimate chance to go to the finals. I know the Mark Williams trade fell through. The Lakers are the ones who pulled the plug on that. They failed Mark Williams' physical. And Mark himself has said he thought he did very well. So there's a story there too. I think the Lakers just got too attached to their pick and decided to fail him for that reason. Anyway, so the Lakers get Luka Doncic at 25. He turns 26 on the 28th of February, I believe. Luka is the type of player that wins Finals MVP. Luka is a scoring wing who can dominate the ball and just can get his own shot whenever he wants. Go look at Finals MVP for every year besides Steph Curry and Nikola Jokic. Tell me that's not the player who's winning Finals MVP. All the way back to, LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kawhi winning it, all the way back to, I wouldn't say Andre Iguodala quite fits, the mold, but he's still a wing, and all the way, it goes all the way back to 2012 when LeBron first won his first ring. These are the players who win you championships. And it's really ridiculous that he goes just right to the Lakers. People have been like, oh, well, how are him and LeBron going to play together? They both hold the ball so much. Stop it. These are two of the smartest players to ever play the game of basketball. They're gonna destroy people. They're gonna, as long as they stay healthy, they're gonna destroy people. And this means, Austin Reeves, sorry you're not going to touch the ball as much, but now Austin Reeves is going at your third best defender, and Austin Reeves is a good player. I think he can absolutely be the third best player on a championship team. And, Lakers don't exactly have a center who excites a lot of people. Right now their starting center is Jackson Hayes, and they just picked up Alex Len off the street. But this team is now set to compete for years and years and years down the road because of Luka Doncic, especially if you get him to re-sign this summer. He doesn't even get a max contract or supermax contract anymore because Dallas didn't fucking give it to him. I really can't with that one. Now to a trade I like better. Jimmy Butler finally gets his wish. Goes to the Miami Heat. Traded for Andrew Wiggins basically in a pick, a protected pick. And, there's a couple of other pieces in it. Dennis Schroeder, et cetera, et cetera. Kyle Anderson, so on. The situation in Miami was really, really bad at this point. Miami just needed out, and that was very clear. And things were maybe looking like Durant could be traded for Jimmy, but that never really came to fruition. I think somebody in the Suns front office was like, hey, we are not trading Kevin Durant for fucking Jimmy Butler. So there's a Suns conversation in there, by the way. But, Jimmy goes to the Golden State Warriors, who now he doesn't have to be Superman, and neither does Steph. And now this team is very, very interesting. There's a lot of ball pressure that is relieved off of Steph now. You have somebody who can really, really attack the lane. You probably haven't had somebody as proficient at attacking the lane as Jimmy since like KD. Just like really just getting into the paint and fucking making tough layups. Jimmy's gonna win a ton of free throws. He's gonna slow the game down. He's gonna help Steph out a lot. I mean I think this is a win-win trade. You needed to give Butler, you needed to get him out of Miami, and to get Andrew Wiggins back and pick and Kyle Anderson, I think is good for Miami. Again, this drama being at the place it was at was just too much. And Miami just needed to get rid of him for whatever. And knowing Miami, they'll kick Andrew Wiggins' ass into shape. And I mean, it's not that he wasn't in shape, but he's going to be an interesting Heat culture guy. But this is so much more for Golden State than anything. They don't give up a lot. They don't give up Kuminga. They don't give up Pajemski. They don't, give up Trace Jackson, David. This team is now potentially, like, if the ceiling of this move is really, really high, and I know people will be like, oh, well, the floor is really low too. Yeah, even if the floor is low, you only gave up a pick. So, it's not terrible. And Jimmy also, Jimmy loves people who want to win and who will do anything to win. And who is that on this team? It's the fucking Steph Curry and fucking Draymond Green. Those two will do anything to win. And I think he will mesh just completely. I think there's some Steve Kerr, potential drama with Jimmy. Just him not falling in line. But who knows? Maybe Jimmy can also be super, form-fitting with the team and just suddenly be that guy. Again, I think this is a potential very high ceiling move. And I'm excited to see how this, round 2 in the playoffs, what does this look like? When Kuminga is back, what does this look like? So, I'm excited to see it. I think Jimmy will provide a lot. And for Miami, I'm sorry that you had to get rid of him. You'll probably still retire his jersey because we retire anyone's jersey these days. Yeah. Congrats to both teams. I do think this is a win-win. Again, I know people might kill me because they're like, oh, you need to get so much more for Jimmy Butler, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. It was bad. There needed to be a change. A change was made, and you got some pieces back. Congrats. Top of the league standings. Right now, as it stands, the Cavs and Thunder are leading their respective conferences, and they're both they're winning a lot of games with the same mindset, different styles. OKC, it revolves around SGA, completely revolves around SGA, and he's right now probably going to win MVP. If the season ended today, I would say he would win MVP. He's the bus driver right now. He's doing a great job. OKC has a lot of depth, and I think they have a lot of depth, from player 4 to player 9. I think that's deeper than the Cavs. But the Cavs starting lineup is bonkers. It's a similar depth strat in a sense, but it's more top heavy than that. And the talent spread out is much more diverse in the starting 5. I also think that the Cavs are much bigger than OKC. I do think that if those two face off in the finals, which I don't think will happen, but you never know. But if they do, SGA is going to be the best player on the floor. He just straight up is. I love Donovan Mitchell. I love Evan Mobley. I think they're both fantastic players, but SGA is the best player in that scenario. There was a moment in the season where the Cavs were on pace for 70 wins, but then they had a rough stretch there. They lost the Rockets twice, and they were stumbling. But I'm really interested to see this team in the playoffs again. I'm interested to see SGA going hard. I'm curious to see how the additions of Hartenstein will be and Caruso will be just in the playoffs when you need guys to be able to lock up on defense or you need an important rebound. Because last year they lost to the Mavs because of rebounding pretty much. They just lost rebounds in really inopportune moments, whether it was Daniel Gafford or, Lively or Luka. It felt like the Mavs got all the important rebounds. On paper, I think OKC, they should be better this year in the play and relative to last year's playoffs. But the West just has teams that, while I don't know if these certain teams could beat like the Celtics in a series, they're very interesting because they have the potential to overwhelm. I think the Nuggets could be overwhelming. I think the Lakers could certainly be overwhelming. I think the Warriors can be definitely overwhelming. And it's just it's all a matter of matchups. So we'll see. On the Cavs side, they're up 5.5 games on the Celtics right now. I think that holds. The Celtics have been kind of weird this year, just where they're not putting on the fuck you cape, They've just lost games this year that I feel that last year they would have won. Finals prediction right now. I think it's going to be Celtics against the Warriors. I think we're going to get 2022 matchup again, and I actually think the Celtics are going to repeat. That's what it is right now. I think I'll definitely record another podcast probably in 2 weeks or so, just as, we get into March and we kind of see how, the final standings have to shake out. I will probably do a Tank Watch podcast, just because my dear Nets are apparently on Tank Watch, but we've also won I think it's something like 7 out of our last 8 or something like that. So not great for tanking. Last little bit before I go. The NBA All-Star game was this past weekend. All-Star weekend was this whole thing. And oh man, I'm not really a fan of what we're doing. And I think it's multifaceted. I think there's an issue with the league overreacting to players who are not putting in effort. So there's two problems there, just with player effort and the league. I think we've attached ourselves to TikTok moments, and sort of we're looking at the trees, but we're missing the forest type of vibe. Where we want to get these, this little clip moment. But then we just, I don't know, we kind of just ruin the game as a whole. Like stopping, I think I read somewhere that there was less than an hour of basketball played. There's 40 something minutes of basketball played, and it was a 3-hour broadcast. I understand honoring the TNT crew. What I don't understand is letting Kevin Hart MC and having him roast all the players while they're playing. Like, how are you supposed to take that seriously when Kevin Hart is just fucking roasting you the entire time? I don't agree with it. I think we, like, I don't know how you incentivize this. You know, you could go the baseball route and have the All-Star game matter. I know they changed that rule a while ago, but have the All-Star game dictate who gets home court for the finals, I think is a very interesting move. I think the best solution is to throw money at it, literally incentivize the shit out of playing. And if you do some shit like LeBron did, be like, okay, then you won't play and it literally won't go on your resume that, you know, you made the All-Star game this year. I think you have to do what you did with All NBA. And I don't know. I think that could be incentive enough, but that's just me. I think, you know, we've invested in the All-Star game weekend. We've just put too much in, like, having celebrities carry us. It's the same thing. It's the same way I feel about SNL. I think there have just been too many celebrities. An original cast isn't, you know, given time to shine. Like last year, when you had Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu, I've heard it said both ways. I love the Liberty. I should probably figure out the correct way. You know, when you had their 3-point shoot off, that was great. And I think the dunk contest it's another thing where you kind of need to incentivize it more, because you want big players in this. And I heard somebody say that, you know, if we have a good dunk contest every 3 years, we're happy. I disagree with that. I'm sorry, I don't remember who said it. I think it was on a basketball. Oh, it was was it Van Lathan? It might have been Van Lathan on Bill Simmons' podcast. Anyway, not important. We just need the big guys dunking, you know, the big names. And I think that number has to be every 2.5 years we get a good dunk contest. Anyway, I don't really have much left to say about it. I think the fix isn't too far off. I think the NBA definitely overcorrected this year and doing the shit where they had 4 different teams playing and rising stars on the NBA All-Star court. I was not a fan of it. And, you know, first to 40 could be interesting, you know, but whatever. I honestly put a 1-on-1 tournament in there. That would be fucking nuts. We just saw Kyrie fucking deuce up Wembanyama. Like, I would watch the shit out of Kyrie and Wembanyama going 1-on-1. That would be so interesting. Anyway, that is the podcast. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate you for sticking around for the ride. Make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, listening on wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We are there. Make sure you're checking out previous episodes. Make sure you're checking out for future episodes. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and on Twitter. Appreciate everyone. Again, shout out to the art department at BBF. Love you guys. It was a great season. And, you know, I'm very blessed to have great coworkers. Thank you all for listening. That's all for me. Have a good night, and